Welcome to Unraveled Game Thoughts. It is January of 2026 and it's been a minute since I've done a video and I just wanted to get something out there. I've done my top 10 games for every year for a while and wanted to get my top 10 games of 2025. Now that I waited to 2026 to do this, I have a few more under my belt than I normally would have. So before I get into the top 10, I thought I would just go over the games that I've actually played that are 2025 games. So to be clear, I'm not doing games that were new to me this year. These are games that were 2025 games that I have gotten at least one play of at some point somewhere. So these are in no order, but these are the games I've played: Vantage, Finspan, Hot Streak, Speakeasy, Luthier, Zenith, Sanctuary, Forest Shuffle, Dartmoor, The Hobbit There and Back Again, Scarabray, Ethnos, Origin, Story, Symbiose, Dewan, Map Masters, Click-a-Tree, Smitten, Tipping Point. Actually, it's Earth 2053 Tipping Point is actually the full title of that one. Scenery, and I think that's it. I can't remember. There might have been a couple others that I played that I just didn't put on here. They weren't even in the consideration. There's probably about 15 to 20 more games I played that I didn't even consider because the score was below 6 for me. And so I think everything I put on here was at least above a 6 on my BGG rating. So things like Galactic Cruise I played. I don't know what I ranked it. It might have been like a low 6, but not one that I was real excited about. I've probably played it 5 to 6 times now. And there were a handful of others. Power Vacuum might be a 2025 game. And I have, that one didn't make it, and there was a handful of others. So if there's one that you really thought was fantastic and you want to post a comment, say, hey, did you play this game? I will happily put it in there. Some of these games, the more I play, sometimes my score goes up a little higher. And, ask me in 2027, this ranking might change a little bit with more plays of some of these. But that being said, I'm going to kick off my top 10 for 2025. All right. Number 10 is Map Masters. This is designed by Ian Sebastian Bach, Cedric Comont, and published by Captain Games, it looks like. And I played this on BGA probably 3 to 8 times, something like that. And I'm not sure, it's not available as far as I can tell to purchase retail yet. I think there was a Kickstarter for it. I'm pretty sure I actually saw the Kickstarter, and I might have even watched it and just decided it was a little further more than I wanted to pay, and I wasn't sure how much I'd like it. But now that I played it on BGA, I think there's a solid chance I'll be looking to add this to the collection. My caveat is going to be, how big is the box? But it is a fun game, and you basically have these cards that you're going to be placing down, and you're making connections, and it's almost like a maze, but you're trying to score points based on the symbols on the cards and how you connect them and what the goals of that particular map are. So there's a process of drafting cards and maybe getting rid of cards that you could draw. I don't know, I wouldn't call it a deck builder, but it's almost like you're managing the cards in your maze deck. It seems very simple. If it's a small box game, you could take this anywhere, and this would be a blast to just, we have, it's a little time in an airport. Let's throw this down. If you like mazes and you like maps, Map Masters, my number 10. Number 9 is Symbiose, another game that I've only played on BGA, and that's the only, as far as I know, it's the only place it exists right now. It's probably, I want to say it's because it's designed by Jeremy Partencio, Cristel Partencio, and published by Subverti. So I'm thinking it was a European game. Very small, probably a small box. You have like these cards that have a color and a symbol on them. So it might be like a snail on a green card. I can't recall if they have numbers. I don't think they do. But and I think it plays up to 4 players. But you have cards in the middle, and you have a tableau of cards. And what was the name of? There's a game. Is it Verdant? Skyjo. Okay, so think like Skyjo or Golf. I think Golf plays the same way for a more traditional regular playing card game, where you have like 8 cards in your tableau, and you can like flip a card over, and then trade a card with something in the middle, or you can trade a card and then flip. And then like the card that you flip that you're trading is flipped over and put in the center. So you have a little bit of tableau manipulation, but you have to do something. So it's a little bit of push your luck. Am I going to get what I want? But the cards, I think the 2 cards that are on because it's a 2x4 tableau in front of you, 4 cards across and 2 cards down. And I think the 2 cards on the left are going to score based on your opponent to your left tableau. 2 cards on the right are scoring based on the opponent to your right's tableau. And then some of the cards are going to score based on what's in the middle. And then some of the cards are going to score based on what's your tableau. So the name of the game, Symbios, you're trying to gather the most points via those cards. There are numbers on the cards, now that I think about it, because some of them just have outright numbers. They're just worth a value, and so there's there's not as much of a symbol on them. So really interesting game. I think it would be kind of a fun quick tableau builder, but with enough crunchy thinking that you could probably play it in 20 minutes, but feel like you got to really scratch a fun puzzle itch. And I hope to get it to the table at some point. I don't own it yet. I can't find it anywhere. So I'm guessing sometime in 2027 it might become available. Sometimes I don't know. I don't know if these some games, especially with our whatever is going on with the tariff thing right now, we might not get them for a long time. That is Symbios at number 9. Number 8 is Origin Story. This is by Jamie Stegmaier and Pete Wissinger. From Stonemaier Games. I had no desire to purchase this game. I had played an original, like a playtest version at one point, and I don't know, it just didn't strike me as terribly interesting. I got to play the physical copy this last, I want to say it was October. I got to play it. Whenever it came out, it was very shortly after that. I got to play, I didn't have my own copy. I played a friend's copy. And it's basically spades with superheroes. It probably seems like a weird thing. I'm not going to call it the most balanced game. It's not the kind of game that you necessarily would approach from everybody is particularly on the same playing field. The superheroes feel very kind of like, some feel kind of overpowered and some are probably more typical, but you're really trying to create some synergy between each round, and you're either essentially going to try and win as many tricks as you can, or you're going to try to go blind nil. Not blind nil, but like nil. You're trying to kind of play spades and not win any tricks. So you play as a villain, win no tricks, you get 4 points. You play as a hero and you win as many tricks as you can, and you get a point for each trick you win. And the trick is sometimes you're playing with up to 5 players, and you all kind of reveal whether you're going to be a hero or a villain at the same time. And at any given point, as you are you're selecting your power, you can kind of look at the powers other people might be selecting, and you might make some kind of choice off of that. I can see that you got a power that tends to favor trying not to win tricks. So maybe that might influence me to, maybe I'll try to be a hero and I'll win more tricks that way. But if you got 3 players or 4 players that are trying to win tricks and one that's trying to lose every trick, then it's a really interesting dynamic around the table between the 5 rounds of trying to get those, win those tricks or lose those tricks. There's an event in round 3 that kind of throws everything off and could sometimes favor one player over another, and sometimes that might be the player who's already winning. So it's part of the reason I say it's not really necessarily a balanced game. It is a fun game. It's very quick. It's pretty lighthearted and only takes about, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes to play. And I like the theme, and I like spades. So it probably helps. If you hate spades, don't get this game. You won't like it. Kind of like a hearts spades sort of dynamic. All right, number 7. Only recently played this game. This is The Hobbit, There and Back Again by Reiner Knizia. This is published by Office Dog, and I had somebody traded me a copy, one of my older games, not older games, but a game that wasn't getting to the table, and I couldn't find this online, and I got offered this trade. I was like, yep, I'll take it. I've watched a video on it. It looked really interesting. I like the rolling dice and draft dicing dynamic. I've gotten to play this with my family too, and they said they liked it. Rules are not real complicated. You could probably do rules in about 15 minutes or less, maybe even 5 minutes. The game takes not a lot of time to play. Now, I played the solo probably about 5 to 8 times. The solo takes it probably took me maybe 15 minutes to play a whole round via solo. It's very hard. And you, from what I could tell, just playing those 8 games of solo, you really have to focus on achieving the objective in 8 rounds because it's awfully hard to get the path you need to get through all the places. All those side quests that you can go for are kind of, you might as well not even worry about them. But in a multiplayer game, it's very interesting because, again, you're rolling dice, you're drafting the dice, and there are a few symbols like getting bread or getting swords that you can do different things. There's a wizard hat that can give you maybe an extra piece of path or an extra bread, or sometimes you have to have 2 or 3 of them to get something based on which scenario you're doing. But ultimately, you're drawing paths around the map, the game board, which is your personal book, and you're trying to get from something from point A to point B, or you're trying to draw your path from point A to point B through various obstacles. And it is with a multiplayer game, there's a lot that all the players can kind of go for. So you might have one person that ends up kind of pursuing a bread objective. You might have another person that pursues a sword objective. One person might be trying to, I'm thinking the first map, really going hard at getting Gandalf home so they can or to Hobbiton so they can get the 2 bonus points. But the person who gets, in that first map, who gets all their dwarves back to Hobbiton before anybody else, the game ends. You finish that round and then you're done. And that is, that's a really interesting dynamic because maybe you got all your dwarves home, but you didn't go for any bread, so you got no bonus, and somebody else went for the bonus bread, but only got 7 dwarves home. And there's just a lot of different ways you can kind of manipulate the points or kind of push the game. And you kind of want to watch what other people are doing to see, is it worth me trying to get Thorin back home first for those points? Because I see my opponent is getting real close to doing that, and I don't know if I'll get the dice to do it. And so it's fun. I found it very enjoyable. It's a very pleasant game. It's not that hard, and I like the Lord of the Rings theme. So that ended up being my number 7 this year. Yeah. All right. Number 6 is another Stonemaier game. It's Finspan by David Gordon and Michael O'Connell. This is from Stonemaier Games. As far as I can tell, most people seem to think this is the least favorite of the span games. Wingspan's my favorite. I love Wingspan. I can play that over and over again. Wormspan and Finspan aren't close to that level, but I like Finspan, and I liked it. I think I like it better than Wormspan. Now, give me 100 plays of each back to back, and Wormspan with the expansion, I don't know. It might get a little fishy, but no, it's I just like the fish theme in Finspan, and I think it fits well, and it has the similar engine building dynamic, but I think it's because it's fish, it's a little more natural. I find myself a little bit more aligned with that theme. I'll be curious what the expansion for Finspan does for the game. I do like Wormspan. I don't not like it. It's just, and it's kind of gone up a little bit over time. None of them are going to get as close to Wingspan. Wingspan's like top tier for me. But Finspan I thought was a really good 2025 game, and I don't know how often I'll get to play it, because I kind of hope they put it on BGA, because I think more people would play it there, and getting it played in person, I haven't run into as many gamers that really enjoy playing it quite as much. So we'll see, but I enjoyed it. It made number 6 for 2025 for me. Moving on, number 5. I wrote these out of order, so I gotta make sure I get this in the right order. Number 5 is Sanctuary by Matthias Wiggy. I did not back it. I got to play, somebody brought a copy to my place a couple weeks ago, and I got to play it, and I really liked it. Now, it does not replace Arc Nova for me. And I think that's the question folks are going to ask. Does this replace Arc Nova? It might, if you really prefer more medium weight and slightly on the lighter end games, and Arc Nova is just way too heavy, then you might prefer Sanctuary. I tend to favor a heavier game, and Sanctuary isn't quite as crunchy as I really want. So it definitely is much lower rated than Arc Nova, and Arc Nova is one of my favorite games. But Sanctuary does offer the flavor and a similar sort of asymmetric puzzle you're trying to put together in your tableau, and I like that. And so I probably will consider adding it to my collection, and partly because I really like Arc Nova, but Arc Nova is a little heavier than I can get to the table with my family. Whereas Sanctuary, I think, probably could get to the table. I could get that to the table with my family, and it's colorful and it's bright, and it offers a similar puzzle without as much weight to it. So I'm hoping I get to play it again in the near future, and after a few more plays, get a better idea of what I think. I have to look for it on BGA. I can't remember if it's on BGA or not, but I do want to, if it is, I want to try it there a few times, and then it's a pretty good one. If you never could quite get into Arc Nova, but you kind of like the theme and you wish there was something that wasn't quite as heavy, then I'd say Sanctuary would be a good fit. All right, number 4 is Skara Brae by Shem Phillips. This is from Garfield Games. And I got this... Oh, I got it for Christmas. Yeah, somebody gifted it to me for Christmas, and it was... I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not. I tend to like Garfield Games. I have a lot of their games on my shelf. You can't quite see them. They're not in that section of my... that shelf covers 3 walls. But Skara Brae is pretty fun. My wife liked it. She's probably played it with me 5-6 times now, maybe more. We've played it with some other folks. Mixed reactions with different folks that have played, but I think some of those have been on their first play too, and it might take a minute to wrap your head around the resource management that you're doing. So many components as far as resources that you're working with, and the engine that you're trying to build, and then feed your people, and then as much as you can produce or use all the resources you have without having your there's a little slider that kind of measures basically how much trash your people are producing, and trying to get that down as far as you can. It's a nice, fun, fairly light puzzle. I'd say it is a tad crunchier than what was the Shipwrights of the North Sea Redux? A tad crunchier than that, and I think more fun than that one, but not much. It's not as heavy as your South Tigris and West Kingdom series. It's definitely lighter than that. It's definitely lighter than Ezra and Nehemiah. It is probably even a little bit lighter than Raiders of the North Sea or Raiders of Scythia, but it's probably closer to those than it is than the other heavier games that Garfield Games produces. So Skara Brae, if you like resource management, it is quite fun. And it's short. You can play it in like 40 minutes, maybe 45 if people are taking a long time to take their turns, but it's not too it's multiplayer solitaire literally, because you can do your turn simultaneously. You don't have to wait for people, save for the card drafting bit. That's about it. So very fun, a little bit of worker placement, a little bit of resource management. All right, number three is another Stonemaier game. I think the last one on the list here. Vantage by Jamie Stegmaier. And I wasn't sure what I was going to think about this. I saw a lot of the build up until it came out. Most of this year, or most of last year, I was a Stonemaier champion. So I went ahead and said, all right, this game looks real unique. I'm going to give it a shot. And I'm glad I did. It's a lot of fun. But you do have to have a certain mindset. And I have found that some people really struggle with the mindset. So I've played with players that are really comfortable with, like, I'm jumping into this world and I'm just exploring, and it's very open-ended, and I'm just kind of figuring stuff out as I go. But there's not really a 100% clear objective. The objectives you come up with as you play, and that can happen pretty fast, or it can happen over the course of several rounds. I've played with a couple other people who really struggled with, like, what's the goal? What am I trying to do here? There's nothing, you're not heading in a direction. I don't understand this open world exploration bit. That is the caveat to Vantage, that you're gonna have to be comfortable with a very open-ended game that doesn't necessarily have a hard and fast winner-loser sort of dynamic. You're really technically all working together, and you either win or lose together. And there's a lot of side quests and sub games inside the main game. So I find that very interesting, and there's a lot of world to explore that I find quite fun. It reminds me of like a video game. It's just an open world, drop you in the video game, and you just kind of wander around. There was one years ago where you flew off into space and you're just exploring planets, and you're just kind of building stuff and figuring stuff out, but it's almost like there's no true objective. And this is what this feels like. But it's fun. It's fun. I enjoyed it. I look forward to playing it some more. Getting to know the world. I think it would be really curious after like 25 to 100 plays, and you kind of understand where things are in the world. I wonder how interesting it'll be then. But we shall see. Number 2 is Speakeasy by Vital Lacerda, published by Eagle Griffin Games. This was a very heavy thematic, took like an hour or something to teach. but it was a lot of fun. And I think this was I have a really hard time knowing how to compare all the Lacerda games. I like most of them. I find them very nicely thematic, and you can see some of them behind me here. Inventions, I think, is my favorite that I have, but I just like the thematic interplay of how he tries to make those mechanisms fit in with what is actually happening. So Speakeasy has a really fun theme. I want to play it again. I don't know that it's the game I want to own. I do feel like it's a little heavier than it would normally be to get people into, and I think some of the other games I have behind me that are themed, they have themes that I feel like are a little easier to engage more gamers than Speakeasy would be. But I do like it, and for 2025, I thought it was fantastic. So I haven't, I haven't played Lisboa yet. It's still on my shelf of opportunity back there. There we go. All right, number 1, last game, the hidden gem, in my opinion, of 2025. Just got it not that long ago after kickstarting it. Is Scenery by Luke Allison, Peter Justra, Corne van Morsel. This is published by Cavalli Games. So this was one of those, like, my wife and I like hiking. We've gone to a lot of national parks. Scenery had very much that theme of hiking trails, and you're putting down the hexes that you're building trails and creating loops, and you get points for different size trails that you create. And if you can create overlooks and waterfalls and cliffs, then having trails go through those areas will get you more points. So had a really cool theme. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. I played a couple of solo games so far. I haven't gotten a chance to play it with multiplayers, but I like it. It's very fun. It kind of has the feel like a Carcassonne feel, but I like it better than Carcassonne because there's more crunchy puzzle there in my mind, a little less area control. You're building your own tableau, but you are trying to create the paths through your tableau, and there's a little bit of a mechanic for using your compass. You have to think through, okay, if I take this tile, then my compass is going to go here, and that's going to give me access to these tiles. So every time you pick a tile up, you're moving your compass and you're replacing your tile off the top of a deck, a face-down deck, and then you put it up face up in a tableau. And every tile is a different height elevation. So there's like some rules for if you create a path, it only counts as a path if it's within a certain level of elevation. Just like when you have a cliff or a waterfall, you need at least like 1,500 elevation difference for those things to actually appear on the map. Then you can score some points, sometimes based on other things, based on how many you have, or if you have the biggest waterfall or the most, or this, that, or the other thing. So again, look forward to playing it multiplayer, but Scenery, I think, is the hit of the year. And just after playing a couple of solo games, I'm just like, ooh, this one feels real fun and puzzly, and a little bit of the kind of that Azul feel, but better. In my mind, better. Like just maybe it's the hiking theme, maybe it's the cool art in the cards, but I really like this one. Hopefully I'll do a solo video in a couple of weeks or a couple of months here, so that at least there's a video of it and you can see it that way. There is an expansion that I ended up getting with the game that was kickstarted, where you can add lakes, certain ways you can put lakes on the map and score for those. Sunshine and how it shines as your map is built out, shines on your map, and you can gain or lose points that way. And tripods, you can put tripods on certain map spaces and you can score for those as well. So lots of interesting, crunchy things to negotiate there. I'll be curious how others respond to it once I get it to the table with some other gamers. So those are my top 10 for Unraveled Game Thoughts for 2025. Thank you for watching, and have a great 2026.